What is going on, everyone? Thanks for tuning in once again. Welcome to another Patient Gamer review. Today we're going to be tackling Deus Ex Mankind Divided. Thank you once again for tuning in. I'm trying to get some more videos out more consistently. I'm going to try and do it perhaps 2 videos a month, just to try and get the ball rolling, get into a good flow of things. Yeah, we'll see how it goes. So I'm gonna give you guys a full synopsis, a full understanding of what Deus Ex Mankind Divided is about. Is it worth your time? Is it worth your money? It's a pretty old game at this point, but it's definitely something that you should consider when making your gaming purchases. We're gonna go through the combat, the different characters, the plot of the story, the gameplay, all the aspects that make this game special. Alright, let's into it. Alright guys, I want to give you a brief overview of what the game is about and what you're going to get your hands into when you finally go ahead and pick this up. You play as the special super spy, augmented human Adam Jensen. Certified badass. Takes care of business and he looks damn cool doing it. It's a truly cool experience as you play as this character. You live in a futuristic world, much in the future, being augmented and augmenting your body, having robotic parts, special type of things, on those cyberpunk type of vibes. That's the type of world that you've been inhabiting. The world is different, the laws are different because the world is different. It's futuristic. Machine and human have become blurred, as you sometimes can't even tell the difference between someone that's a human and someone that's a robot in themselves. So you tackle this and the various issues that come from living in a world like this. You play as Adam Jensen, who works for a secret organization that fights to keep the order and is fighting against a nefarious group that is causing problems and increasing the amount of racism that augmented humans experience. It sits in Prague, in the Czech Republic. So that's the world that you'll be in. So that is pretty much the story that you're going to be inhabiting and the world that you'll be in. So that's just a brief overview so you can understand, or just a bit of an idea of what the place and the world that you'll be in. Alright, let's get right into the meat and bones of the experience. Let's dive deep into the gameplay. Now, Deus Ex Mankind Divided is a stealth action game. It can also definitely be considered an RPG. There's a huge amount of player choice throughout the experience that you can enjoy. The action is exciting. There's a lot of ways that you can tackle this. The subgenre that this fits into is the immersive sim. So in Deus Ex Mankind Divided, there are multiple ways in which you can tackle it. You can go balls to the wall, action, go into shootouts. I wouldn't recommend that, but you can definitely go into that if that's the way you want to tackle the game. You can go balls to the wall, shooting every single enemy that you see, but this game is definitely designed to be a stealth game. There's so many different ways you can take down your enemies. Depending on your playstyle, you can even go full passive mode. Don't attack everyone, you can neutralize them. There's a lot of capabilities that the game gives you here. There's a huge amount of player choice. There's a lot of non-lethal weapons, lethal weapons. So you can completely tackle these areas in the way you want. There's a lot of variety here. The places that you play in, there are some really great environments over here. As we talked about here in the city of Prague, and in that city of Prague there are a lot of outposts, not necessarily outposts, but areas that you can infiltrate and attack as you continue with the story mode. The weapons that you have a multitude of guns, assault rifles, shotguns. You have a number of gadgets that come with you as an augmented agent. Not only do you have a great arsenal of weapons, but you yourself, Adam Jensen, can become a weapon all on his own. And as you continue to play the game, continue to improve your abilities, the stealth becomes that much more fun. You get to a point where you're actually even toying with your enemies because of how enjoyable the various ways you can tackle it. There's so many different ways and upgrades that you can have, that there are multiple ways of entry. There are multiple ways for you to defeat your enemies, lethally or non-lethally. Or you can go absolutely full stealth and get into and complete your objectives without attacking or being seen by anyone, going ghost. Deus Ex Mankind Divided is definitely an improvement from Deus Ex Human Revolution. The gameplay, the graphics, and a lot of aspects of the game have definitely been improved While some people generally say that Human Revolution is definitely the superior experience, I'm gonna have to disagree. The things that you can do here is a whole entire experience. The gameplay has been greatly improved, and I was definitely excited and satisfied with the step up in terms of gameplay, the way you can tackle things, the gadgets, every single aspect that you interact with, whether it be the UI, the user interface, the various menus that you have, storing loot, everything is much clearer and more streamlined. Putting into note that I did play this over on PlayStation 4, it was a generally smooth experience. I was thinking because I played Human Revolution over on PC, playing this on the PlayStation, I'm gonna run into some issues. It's probably not built for it, but no, they did a surprisingly good job in terms of optimization. Of course, you can be hitting max 30 frames per second, nothing better than that. But I had very few frame drops and I had a generally enjoyable experience. So in terms of the gameplay, I was very satisfied with the improvements that they made over at Square Enix. They did a great job, and as an immersive sim, you will not be disappointed if you've played Dishonored. If you've played a Prey, it definitely hits those markers. With the RPG elements, of course, there's XP system. You level up regularly. The different abilities that you can attain as you continue to progress through the game, and that's something you'll definitely enjoy if you're someone who enjoys Dark Souls, for example, and you're not interested in the story. You're going to be well satisfied with the gameplay that you have here. I will be honest though, if you're someone who's looking for a first-person shooter with sensational gunplay, this is probably not going to be the game for you. It's much more of a focus on the stealth. The gunplay is solid for what they give you, but you can definitely see from the way that they designed it, the goal of the game is not to run in and play the game like a Call of Duty campaign. No, that's not what they were going for. You can definitely enjoy the gunplay when everything goes bad and then you're forced to pull out your shotgun, you're forced to pull out your assault rifle. It works, but you can definitely see from the way that they designed the game that stealth is definitely the way that you should play the game. And of course, when everything goes bad, last resort, you put out your weapon. Now let's consider the story of Deus Ex Mankind Divided. Deus Ex Mankind Divided takes off just a few months or perhaps a full year since the events of the previous game, Deus Ex Human Revolution. A lot of things happen there, and you'll get a full summary, a very well done summary at that, in the beginning of Mankind Divided. They essentially give you a whole entire plot synopsis of what happened in the first game. Very nice, very understanding. So if you don't really feel like playing Human Revolution first, you can definitely jump straight into Mankind Divided. If you're someone who enjoys stealth games and that's your genre and you're interested in some sort of futuristic type of tale, I would recommend that you play Human Revolution. A lot of other people would agree with me. Many people actually rate Human Revolution higher than Mankind Divided. So Human Revolution could be a great game for you to start out and enjoy first, and really start Adam Jensen's story, because that's the character that you'll be playing, and playing that first can give you a better understanding and more of a closer bond with the main character. And that's how you find out, this guy's been a badass since the beginning, bro. So it's if you want to have a closer relationship and see the different characters that will come up in the second game, it is definitely interesting to play the first one, Human Revolution first, but you can completely miss it and you'll be fine. This is a totally different and independent story with a whole different organization and whole different villains and characters. Keeps you interesting throughout. Now in Mankind Divided, Adam Jensen and his new organization, the spy organization that I'm not going to spoil this yet, you'll find out on your own, have to fight this new nefarious group that is messing things up and is giving augmented humans a very bad name and reputation. Tension's already high. Humans don't like things that are different, and augmented humans bring their own unique type of threats. They can hide in plain sight, but they can turn out to be very, very dangerous. And that has caused a different form of racism. In this case, black and white isn't really that important anymore when a robot can come over and come up with his sights and kill everyone in the room. So it brings off a new threat, a new type of issue that this new futuristic world has to face. And that is the foundation of the story. You follow Adam Jensen as he tackles the racism, if you can call it that, and this nefarious group that's causing issues that are destroying and killing people left, right, and center. And that's the story that you'll be following. It's an interesting story, with twists and turns. You truly don't know who to trust. You can definitely feel the spy vibes in terms of this. You move into cool things. You are a super spy with augmented parts, and you use those abilities to the best and maximum of your abilities. So it's definitely a cool experience. There are some very interesting characters that you will come across. Now, there are a number of characters that you'll come across throughout your experience, but I wouldn't put a huge amount of emphasis on them, that there'll be some particularly memorable characters. But I'd say what's more memorable about Deus Ex Mankind Divided is the stories that you experience instead of the characters. There are different characters that will play pivotal and different part throughout the experience, but the story as a whole is what's really going to carry this experience forward. Of course, you deal with your main story that keeps the plot moving along, but alongside that are some very interesting side quests that you can play. You end up becoming, your own private investigator type of detective. And this is when that player choice really comes into fruition. There is some player choice that you can make in the main story, but I'd say that player choice is a lot stronger here in the side content. There are lots of different decisions that you can do. You can make quests shorter or longer depending on how much research and how much time that you're willing to spend on them. If you're willing to go the extra mile, are you willing to look through that extra cupboard? Are you willing to read that extra audio file or read that extra audio log? If you're able to just put a little bit more effort, there's some different paths that you can end up finding. There can be ways where you can lethally take someone down, or you can non-lethally take them down and make the quest even longer or more interesting. There are various ways in which you can tackle quests in this game, and it keeps it very interesting. And the way that you find these quests is very organic. It's not a map marker filled thing like a Ubisoft game and those type of titles. No, it's much more organic. What you could suffer from this is that you could end up missing perhaps a few quests, but the way that the game handles it is that you'll perhaps hear a character talking about something, then there'll be points of interest, then it'll put you in some sort of a direction that you should go. Like, maybe you should check this area out. Maybe you'll find something of interest. And sometimes you can literally be walking past somewhere and there's a murder scene, or there's something happening left, right, and center. Just from you exploring the world, there's something you can definitely enjoy, and there's cool things that you can find throughout the experience, and that definitely keeps the game interesting and exciting. Now, since we're on the topic of the world that we're inhabiting, let's get right into it. Let's cover the setting. Deus Ex Mankind Divided is a game that rewards you for your exploration. There are many things that you can find, going from interesting lore, storybooks, money, weapons, whatever it is, upgrade points. There are many things that you can find and be rewarded for by taking part in the exploration. Now, this game is something that takes into consideration that size matters. Size truly matters. And in this case, they've tackled it well. Not like how some other games tackle it, why they give you a huge open world map with so much to see, but no true substance. The approach that Deus Ex Mankind Divided took was quality over quantity. This map is generally small. There are 2 areas in which you can explore, and they are separated by a train ride away. But each of these places are interesting, deep, and can be highly explored. If you're getting some open world fatigue, you're tired of going up to the top of buildings and scanning the areas, going to different places that are copy paste, this will be a great palate cleanser for you if you're tired of the boring old formula of the open world experience. It's got something very, very interesting for you. You, as I mentioned before, you're rewarded for your exploration, and there are many areas that you can explore. It's not just on the surface level. Not only can you explore the multiple shops and buildings that are there, but there's also an interesting underground sewer system that you can also explore that carries different quests, characters, enemy, such and so forth. So Prague is a very beautiful, pretty place with some very sinister things happening in the background that you can explore during the nighttime, the nightlife, the different clubs, the strip clubs, whatever it is. the setting that they've chosen is a great place. It's on, Eastern Europe, hardcore gangster type lifestyle. Add in the augmented humans, the racism, the different enemies that you come across. It keeps the game very interesting, keeping in the government involved, the secret organization that Adam Jensen is a part of, all in one city, and that they all clash in one huge climax at the end of the game. So I would definitely say that it's quality over quantity. Prague is a place that you want to explore. It's interesting. There are cool secrets that you can explore throughout your playtime. So it's definitely a game that you're not going to be like, I've seen this before. Ooh, copy paste statue, No, none of that. They do not follow the typical open world tropes. It's not clear the outpost, typical clear the outpost, clear the outpost. There's always a story or some type of drug ring or something behind the thing that you're doing. You're not just mindlessly clearing outposts, mindlessly defeating enemies. No, it feels like a realistic world. Now, with all the game's aspects taken into consideration, is this game actually worth your time? Is its value worth the buck? I'm gonna give you guys an answer. The answer is absolutely yes. Guys, go ahead and buy this game. You are absolutely not going to regret it. It's a very old title now. I think it came out around perhaps 2016. From what I know now, it's 2022 right now. You can get this game for cheap. If I'm going to give you a recommendation, you might as well get the deluxe edition, the different version of the game. Get the deluxe edition, comes with the DLC. You can get it if you get it on sale, you can get it for a very, very low price. You're definitely not going to regret it. If we're talking in terms of playtime, very satisfying towards the 20-25 hour mark. If you're trying to do the more completionist type of thing, you can obviously extend that to much longer. There's so many things to explore. Definitely an enjoyable story. Even if you keep mainly to the main quest, you're going to be satisfied and interested throughout the entire story. The different paths you can take, there's player choice. It's a really good immersive sim. It stands up in arms. It really rivals its other competitors such as BioShock, Dishonored, Prey, and those type of games that are made by Arcane Studios. It's definitely up there. Lots of player choice, enjoyable. Square Enix did their job. Eidos Montreal did their job. They made sure that they came out with a quality game. One of the many complaints that people say is that this is one of those type of games where it ends on some sort of a cliffhanger. It doesn't exactly wrap up the story succinctly like you'd be satisfied with other games. Like, okay, the story is over, the next game we're gonna get something completely new. No, this is more of a continuous type of thing like you've experienced with the Assassin's Creed games. You get a portion of the story, but even with the portion of the story that you do receive in this game, I'd have to say that you will be left satisfied with the story that you receive. You're not gonna be like, oh damn, I feel like I'm getting ripped off. No, you're definitely going to be satisfied with it. I am hopeful that we're going to get a finale to Adam Jensen's story. It's been 2 games that we've had with Adam Jensen. I'd like them to, finally complete the trilogy and see how it ends. That we go into a full deep dive into Adam Jensen's past, who his parents are, because there were a lot of revelations that were put into the side quest of Deus Ex Human Revolution. So just a reminder that the side quest can hold some very interesting information about the world as well. So the side quests are definitely something you don't want to skip, as they could be hiding some really interesting and exciting content for you. Now, I mentioned in the value section of the review that you should definitely go ahead and perhaps get the ultimate sort of edition of Deus Ex Mankind Divided. Now, we're going to talk about the DLC for a second, alright? To be absolutely honest with you, you could completely pass on the DLC. You are absolutely missing nothing, which is truly a shame, because the content that they came up over here is very, very interesting. Now, Deus Ex Mankind Divided has 3 DLC packs, but the only ones that are actually of any interest is the bank heist one and the prison break one. Those are the only ones that are actually of real interest and that are worth your time, really. And even then, I have some pretty substantial issues with them. The bank heist one is you break into the one of the huge companies that are in Deus Ex. You're supposed to get something for an old friend that if you've played Human Revolution, you'll be working with him once again. And honestly, it's a missable quest. The quest is simply too short for you to build any sort of investment with it. Even though you're working with a character that you used to work with before, it's not interesting enough that you can actually get truly invested into the story that the DLC is trying to tell. And I'd say that's the biggest part of the Bank Heist DLC. Now, this DLC, the prison DLC, this is where I actually had a real problem, because the amount of potential that they had with this DLC was so high. Once again, the issue is that the DLC was too short, way too short. This DLC honestly should have been minimum 10 hours. The world that they created, you essentially continue Adam Jensen's story, and you're put into this prison system where they keep augmented humans, and there's an interesting mission that you have to partake in. Now, the DLC is decent enough where it can be enjoyable. It's a cool new environment. You're stripped of your weapons and some of your augments and the different things, and they switch it up a bit, but it is definitely interesting. The amount of effort that the developers put into designing the prison system alone shows to me that, clearly the efforts and the funds were diverted into some different sorts of project, because the people who created the environment in the prison, it was so deep. All that it needed was a couple more hours of story, some more development. Like, it needed more time. It needed more time to be able to be invested with more characters and to keep the mission and the story much more interesting. Because honestly, you get into the prison system and by an hour, you're already into probably perhaps the third arc or the second to last arc of the DLC. And that was a huge problem. The pacing was simply too fast. There's some interesting things in it and a somewhat interesting villain, but it was too short. The way that they handled the DLC back in Human Revolution was actually a lot better, because they snuck it into a portion of the game. I played the complete edition of Deus Ex Human Revolution. So when that ship scene came, when it explains pretty much when Adam Jensen went onto the ship of the DLC, it worked into the game in a much smoother way, and it worked a lot better because it felt like, okay, this really feels like it's part of the story, and it filled a gap that was there in the director's cut of Deus Ex Human Revolution. In this case, this DLC was in dire need of development. I'll be absolutely honest, they could have cut out all the other DLC and made this one longer, make it at least 10 hours, then I would have been greatly satisfied with the experience. That's honestly what they should have done. Now guys, I usually do a spoiler section to talk about with the guys who've already experienced the game. In this case, I honestly don't feel the need to do one. Deus Ex Mankind Divided has a very interesting plot, but it's definitely those type of games that you enjoy in the moment. It's not exactly a plot that you're going to be analyzing greatly, like perhaps God of War or something like that, where the huge, great defining plot points. It's definitely much more in the moment, exciting for the time being, an enjoyable story. As you experience it, you're going to appreciate the story and the multiple side quests that you have in the game. I could say, think of the Uncharted series. Now, the Uncharted series isn't exactly known for its sensational plot or story, but it's known to be a great experience. I'd say Deus Ex Mankind Divided has, how would I put it, a more deeper feeling. In that case, I mean, like, you're going to be you're going to care more about the plot, and there is a solid plot that you can draw yourself to, while Uncharted leans more to the Sunday action night, Friday action night type of movie where you enjoy it, have fun, and then perhaps you forget about it the next day, but you know that you enjoyed the jaw-dropping visuals, the great voice acting, the comedy. It definitely leans into that type of thing, if you're talking about Uncharted. But Deus Ex, I'd say it does that, but slightly on a deeper level. The plot definitely is interesting, and it's something that you can enjoy. Now, if I'm going to rate this entire game out of 10, I am going to give Deus Ex Mankind Divided a solid 8 out of 10. It is truly a great experience. Now, an 8 out of 10 is a really good score. It's a really great game. You need to go out and buy this game. It is really strong. Great title. Adam Jensen's an interesting character, certified badass. You're gonna feel like a badass. You're gonna have fun with the game. I would greatly recommend that you all go out and buy this game. It's cheap. If you get it on sale on PS Store or whichever your platform of choice is, you're definitely going to enjoy the experience. You're not gonna be missing out on anything saying, oh, I got losing a couple extra bucks. No. Value for money. You will enjoy this game. If you're someone who enjoys RPGs, you're someone who enjoys stealth, you're someone who enjoys having player choice, you enjoy having an interesting type of story, this is definitely one that's interesting. It tackles different levels of prejudice. There's so many different themes that the game tackles. Terrorism. There are lots and lots of things that this game tackles. There's lots of aspects to it. There's a little bit of something for each and every type of person. The only person where I'd say maybe don't go for this game is if perhaps, not necessarily if you like patience, but if you're looking for a first-person shooter with some jaw-dropping action. There's definitely some cool action to have here, but the emphasis is definitely more on stealth. That's where the cool and badassery is going to come from, if you're looking for something that's more involved with the stealth and an interesting story and player choice. So that's where you're definitely going to have fun with the game. Alright, thanks once again for coming back to the channel. Enjoying another Patient Gamer review. This one is definitely worth your buck. You guys won't regret it. Go ahead and pick this up. You enjoy your immersive sim, this is another one to add to your ever-growing collection. These type of games aren't as popular these days anymore, and for people who enjoy these type of games, guys, even if you've never played an immersive sim before, you enjoy some RPGs, this is something different. Palette cleanser. Tired of those generic open world games, tired of Ubisoft hitting you with the same trash every single year? Come on and get some of this pie. It's very interesting. You won't regret it. You're gonna have a good time. Thanks again for coming back to the channel. I expect some more reviews coming along the way. This is one of my favorite games that I played. I look back on this game very fondly. I had a very great time playing it. Great experience. Died a couple of times. Of course, it puts an emphasis on stealth, so you're gonna die quite a bit, but you're definitely gonna enjoy this, guys. Go ahead, have a good one. Enjoy this game. Pick it up as soon as possible, bro. If you're looking for something to kill that backlog streak, something you're gonna jump into and you're gonna enjoy, this is a great game to pick up. Take it easy, gents, and I'll see you on the next Patient Gamer review. Explicit Sage out.